Welcome. Can you hear me? Testing. Testing 1, 2. Okay, awesome. All right, so welcome. Thank you so much for joining me live. I think other folks will be trickling in as we go along. So I'm trying this new platform out called expertise.tv. So very exciting. And we are recording. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. I have an agenda here, so let me just look at that. All right, so I want to encourage you to please stay until the end, as I'll be giving a free gift for live webinar attendees. And students, if you're going to be filling out the study guide during this lesson, if you haven't already downloaded the lesson, you can get both my slideshow presentation and your student study guide at the Google Drive link I gave you when your parents signed you up. So let me just give that link out again. Okay, so here it is. So if you just click on that, that will give you my slideshow and study guide. So you can print that out, or if you don't want to print it out and handwrite into it, you can just use it on your desktop. And I like to use Adobe Acrobat. Now, you may already have this on your computers, but let me go ahead and give you a link just in case. Okay, so there's the Adobe Acrobat Reader. I use that all the time to type into my PDF files. So if students are going to type or handwrite into the study guide, it's just a great way to engage with the lesson. Sorry, the reflection off my glasses. This computer light is pretty bright, so maybe I should take it off so it's not so distracting. And then it's hard for me to see. So, sorry. Okay. So, and this is a free live class webinar for both students and parents. The first part of this webinar, I'm going to be teaching a new class that I just wrote about marine animals, aka marine zoology. And during the second part of the class, I'll be showing parents my upcoming online marine biology classes. All right. So, and feel free if you have any questions during this time to type into the chat box. During the presentation, I may not see chat because I'll be focusing on the presentation. So I will do my best to answer everyone's questions. And then, of course, you can always email me directly. So if you think of questions after class, that's my business email. You can direct questions there. All right, so you may be wondering who I am. I'm Gloria Brooks, founder of Nature Glow's eScience. I hold a bachelor's degree in K-12 education, and I've been teaching in private education since 1997. I've actually never taught in public schools. Nothing against them, it's just not my forte. I'm more of a private educator. I would say my style is more of a relaxed homeschool style. I teach from a neutral or non-religious worldview, and I've been teaching live online math enrichment called Math Art and science classes to homeschoolers since 2011. So I've been in the field of education for many years. In fact, when I was 8 years old, I was writing my very first marine biology curriculum, and I integrated math with it. I made little math story problems. And also, I'm putting together a new online school. It's called Nature Glow's eScience. It's in the construction stage, and I'm hoping to open that online school in a few weeks, which is way earlier than I had anticipated opening, but you'll be hearing about that if you stay on my email list, that is. Okay, any questions before we start? Okay, awesome. Now, before we begin, please have no other distractions during the live class webinar. I would invite you to turn off any devices, Facebook, big temptations, or other browser tabs. We want to have little to no distractions during the lesson to get the most out of it. Okay, so I'm going to screen share. Now, typically when I'm screen sharing, I turn off my webcam. It's going to have a big picture of myself, but I think that's less distracting than, I don't know, maybe I'll leave it open. If we start getting lag, just let me know. Oh, one more thing. I did not tell you guys, I'm a full-time RVer. I live out of a 4350 camper van with my dog Rochelle, and we live on the West Coast. We travel mostly through California, and we stay in Arizona, in the Arizona desert for the winter to escape the cold. So, a little personal note there. Okay. Screen share, where are you? There we go. Okay, so if we have lag, I will have to turn off the webcam. Because sometimes screen sharing and webcams together don't work well. Okay, so can everyone see the study guide here? This is the student study guide. And students can go ahead and fill this out as I'm going through the presentation. But if it's overwhelming, you can just set it aside and use it for review later outside of the live webinar class. Okay, so can everyone see this as I'm scrolling? Hopefully there's no lag here. So far we're doing really well. I have a good connection out here. Testing. Okay. So no one has said whether they can see the presentation or not. Okay. So just say if you can see it or not before I begin. So this is the first slide. Intro to marine animals. Okay, awesome. Thank you. All right, so here we go. All right, so marine microscopic animals, we'll start with the smallest animals first, zooplankton. And I'm not sure if you can see my cursor whirling around, but there it is. I wish I had a little red pointer, but I don't. So the word zooplankton comes from the Greek meaning animal wanderer, and that's because these animals just get tossed and turned all over the sea. They don't have too much control. I mean, some of them can swim, but a lot of them are just swept around by the currents and the waves of the sea. So the two main groups of zooplankton are permanent and temporary. Now, the permanent animals, or the holoplankton, include diatoms, radiolarians, krill, and copepods. Some of you may have never heard of some of these words. So diatoms are just little tiny glass-like plants, algae. Glassy algae is a good way. We'll talk about radiolarians in a minute. Krill are what a lot of whales live off of. They look like tiny shrimp. And copepods, here's what a copepod looks like on this slide. Now, the temporary members are include larval sea stars. Does anyone know what larval means? Go ahead in the chat box. And I want to try and see if I can look at chat and the presentation at the same time. Okay, and if you don't know, that's okay. Okay, so larval are the baby, like the baby stages of sea stars. Thank you. Yes, in the larval stage, very young juvenile, right. So the temporary members of zooplankton include the young juvenile stages of sea stars, urchins, crustaceans, and most fish, such as fish eggs, included in that as well. Here we have a protozoa highlight. So I'm going to be highlighting certain animals, marine animals, in this presentation. So this one's a highlight of radiolarians. Have you guys heard of radiolarians before? Chat yes or no. So these are very tiny, microscopic. 0.1 to 0.2 millimeters. They're zooplankton with intricate mineral skeletons. And here's what one looks like in the background. Does that remind you of anything? Kind of reminds me of two hedgehogs, like Siamese twin hedgehogs. The skeletal remains make up a large part of the ocean floor cover as siliceous ooze. Sounds kind of slimy. From silica. And what is silica? It's composed of silicon and oxygen, which is actually a main ingredient used in glass making. All right, our next slide here. Now, Ernst Haeckel, he was a German biologist who created this beautiful image here that you see. These are different radiolarians. He produced finely detailed drawings of radiolaria in his book, which is German, Kunstformen der Natur. And forgive me if you're German and I butchered that. Haeckel popularized radiolarians among Victorian microscopists alongside foraminifera, which are single-celled amoeboid protists, tiny, very tiny, microscopic, and diatoms, which, as we mentioned before, are single-cell algae with glass walls. Okay, this is a fun slide here. I was so amazed when I found this juvenile sunfish. Okay, what do you guys know about sunfish? Anything? If so, chat in the chat box if you know anything about them. Here's what one looks like in the adult form. So zooplankton includes larger marine animals at tiny immature life stages, such as this sunfish larva, pictured here on the left, which will grow into the heaviest bony fish species in the sea. And they can weigh up to 2,205 pounds. Yes, they look like giant fish heads just swimming around. And I'm amazed because they're slow movers. And I just wonder how they keep out of the way of like sharks. They seem like they'd be great shark bait. So I'm sure it has to do with their habits. And I saw a picture of them laying flat, laying horizontally on the sea surface, and they'll just bask in the sun like that. It's pretty fascinating. Here we have a slide picture of a variety of zooplankton. Okay, let's talk about marine invertebrates, or marine animals without backbones. Okay, and Zafri, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Forgive me if I'm not, but you wrote large open ocean fish that are incredibly large, unique in that they prefer to swim with their dorsal and anal fins instead of the caudal fins. Right, so they're just really interesting looking. Okay, so marine invertebrates include over 1 million species, including cnidaria, such as jellyfish, sea anemone, coral, sea pens, and hydrozoa. Ctenophora include comb jellies. And comb jellies sound like they would belong with jellyfish, but they are a different species in their own group. And they actually have these interesting comb-like hairs they reverberate, they vibrate back and forth. It helps them move through the water. And also it captures light, and it looks like rainbow colors all along their bodies. They're really fascinating. Sea worms, such as the Christmas tree worm, which are fascinating. Mollusks, such as shellfish, squid, and octopus. Okay, and you've seen the little combs while snorkeling. Really, that's awesome. Wow, snorkeling. I've gone snorkeling once. I went in the Galapagos Islands back in 2007. Here we have a slide. These are marine invertebrate examples from Ernst Haeckel, whom we mentioned earlier. And these were done in 1904. Yes, very good, Kamala. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your names here. Yes, the sea cucumber is definitely an invertebrate. Okay, so here we have on the left, we have a painting of sea anemones. On the right, we have a painting of different sea worms, marine worms. Really pretty. And one thing about Ernst Haeckel's art is he really showcased the animals and plants. Whatever he was drawing, he showcased their symmetry. Here we have a slide of a variety of coral from part of the Great Barrier Reef near Cairns, Queensland, Australia. Really beautiful scene. This is a famous picture on the internet. Okay, so more invertebrates, arthropods, horseshoe crabs, sea spiders, and crustaceans, such as lobster and shrimp, porifera, which are the sea sponges, bryozoans, which are filter feeders, echinoderms, such as starfish, sea urchins, and sand dollars, Urochordata, which includes sea squirts or tunicates. Okay. All right, so sea spiders. Have you guys heard of sea spiders before? Here is what one particular species looks like. This is a giant sea spider used here in a museum exhibit. So in case you were wondering what they look like. I actually teach a whole lesson about sea spiders in one of my marine biology courses. They're fascinating. And they are not related to land spiders, by the way. Cool fact. Marine invertebrate highlight sea sponges. Here we have yellow tube sponge, Aplacina fistularis, the purple vase sponge. We have a couple purple ones here. Nephates digitalis, the red encrusting sponge right here, called Spiratrella caucasinea, and the gray rope sponge. Actually, that one might be this here, even though it looks kind of purple. So the purple one's back there. I think this is the gray one. All right, so the gray rope sponge, which I don't know, oh, there's the Latin, Calispongia in the Caribbean Sea and the Cayman Islands. Yes, sand dollars are living. Good question. Right. And if they have the little spikes still on them, it's best not to collect them because most likely they are alive. Okay, the Pacific sea nettle, Chrysora fuscescens, also known as the West Coast sea nettle. These are common free-floating Scyphozoa, which is the large group name for true jellyfish. Their geographic range, they live in the East Pacific Ocean from Canada to Mexico. All right, a little bit of etymology. History of words is, I used to teach a course called etymology. Basically, it's the historical context of words and what they mean. So the name Chrysora is Greek. It's Greek mythology with Chrysor, the brother of Pegasus and son of Poseidon and Medusa. So if you know anything about Greek mythology, if not, no worries. Translated, Chrysor means he who has a golden armament. All right, marine vertebrates. These are animals with backbones. The sea nettle is up there on the nasty factor of jellyfish stings. Yes, I would say it's not fatal like the box jelly, which is in its own group actually. They're considered one of the deadliest. They're on the list of most deadliest, the box jellies. Okay, so marine vertebrates, this includes fish, which their numbers are 33,400 species and counting. New fish are always being discovered each year. Bony and cartilaginous. Cartilaginous fish include the sharks and stingrays. Reptiles such as sea turtles, sea snakes, terrapins, marine iguana, and saltwater crocodile. Marine mammals, sea otters, whales, and dolphins. So most, except mammals and some sea snakes, are oviparous, meaning they lay their eggs on land, such as sea turtles. The females go seasonally. When they're ready to lay, they go to land to do that. Here we have a sea snake, by the way. Okay, so deep sea marine animals. I actually teach a course called Dramatic Deep Sea Creatures. So this is a slide from one of the presentations that I do. So vertebrate highlight, the megamouth shark. Dun, dun, dun. Look at that mouth. I mean, that just reminds me of Pac-Man. It's huge, absolutely massive. Okay, so we'll talk about the megamouth shark. They're brownish black on top, white underneath, asymmetrical tail with a long upper lobe. Gills, interior of their gill slits are lined with finger-like gill rakers that help them capture food. They have soft, flabby, stout bodies, long, wide, bulbous heads. I mean, just check that head out. That is massive. And they've got really interesting mouths, too. This is a preserved specimen, of course. They can reach 18 feet and weigh 2,679 pounds. Their mouths are rubbery, up to 1.3, or they can be 5 feet, 3 inches wide, surrounded by luminous photophores. Anyone know what that means? Go ahead in the chat box if you know. Okay, I just want to see if I can see chat. Thank you. Yes, I have a little typo there. I'll have to fix that later. Bioluminescent photophores. It actually should say bioluminescent photophores, I think. But what does it mean? Anyone? Okay, this feature of those bioluminescent photophores may act as a lure for plankton or small fish. Yes, thank you. Light emitting. Okay, so I don't actually teach about seabirds in my marine zoology classes, but I did have a course, and I'll probably revive it in the next few years because it was pretty popular. I have a birds course. So seabirds, I do teach about seabirds in that course. So seabirds are adapted to living in marine environments, and they can be called either marine birds or seabirds. And examples would be albatross, penguins, gannets, and puffins. Any other examples of seabirds? Go ahead in the chat box if you know any. So they spend most of their lives in or near the ocean. Some species, such as gulls, often are found thousands of miles inland. And yes, that's true. I have seen recently in my travels, sometimes you're allowed to park in like Walmart parking lots overnight. So that's a famous place for gulls, seagulls to gather because people drop food all over the parking lot. Pelicans would be an example. Loons. I think loons are more freshwater, still lakes and ponds, but I could be wrong. There may be exceptions where they might stop off, like if they're migrating to swim in the sea for a bit. Okay, our next slide here. Marine mammals. This is a lot of people's favorite, okay, because whales and dolphins are in this group. So the 5 main marine mammal types are cetaceans, which includes whales and dolphins, and porpoises. Toothed whales and baleen whales are in this group. Sirenians, such as manatees, pinnipeds, like your walruses and seals. Sea otters and polar bears are also included in the marine mammals group. So these are all air-breathing, and they must return to the surface to breathe. And polar bears also swim in the sea. They'll swim to capture penguins and fish, but they don't spend as much time as the other marine mammals. So marine mammal highlight: whales. Includes marine mammals commonly known as whales, dolphins, and porpoises. The word cetus means whale. The order name Cetacea comes also from Greek mythology, from the monster Perseus, who is monster Perseus defeated, called Ceto, depicted by the constellation of Cetus. And cetology is the branch of marine science associated with the study of cetaceans. Okay, so we can learn more about marine animals at the link below. So we'll have a look at that shortly. And thank you so much for watching from the adorable sleeping sea otters holding hands. Okay, so briefly, this study guide, some of you may have filled it out. Some of you may be saving it for later. So we have 10 questions. And most of my study guides, I try to keep it down to 10 questions. All of the answers can be found by the slide number. Okay, here we have a journal template. And usually I include these in all of the study guides that I offer per lesson. So for each lesson that I teach, students get a slideshow, just like I just taught, and a study guide. And you're asking, has the nuclear radiation in the Pacific Ocean affected the seabirds? That's a very good question. I have heard that it was supposedly going to affect a lot of sea life, but I can't give a definitive answer. I hope not. I wish not. Okay, so for journal templates, what you do is you select a specific species of interest, any favorite marine animal that we learned about either in the slideshow or from the web resources, which we'll look at shortly. And then you just fill out the information, and the fun part, you can draw your favorite species in the space given. So in all of these answers can be either found through Google search or using something like Archive or Wikipedia or whatever resource you use. Okay, and then we have a quiz with the same questions and an answer key. Okay, and awesome. And let me just stop my screen share for the moment. Okay, so at this time, I want to go ahead and show you the website. I have a marine biology website. And each lesson gets its own page of resources. And I've been working on this as long as I've been teaching online, actually. So let me go ahead and I'm going to turn my webcam off for this. Okay, bear with me. I'm still new to this tech here. It's easier to use than other classrooms I've used, or, well, this is actually my very first webinar. But it's similar to having a live class. Okay, so can everyone see the introduction to marine zoology? Just type yes. Okay, so here we have, this is the marine biology website, and there's the little menu, so you can click through the links. Let me go ahead and give you the direct link, so you can go there and bookmark that. There's the link. Oops, wait a minute. It didn't. Okay, there it is. So click on that, and you can bookmark that, so you have it. And I invite you to explore the rest of the marine biology website. So, but I want to stay focused here. Here we have Quizlet. Anyone heard of Quizlet before? This is really great. It's a free app. You can sign up, and students can study for, play games, do flashcards, and take a free an automated test that's graded automatically. So I put in the questions. I think these are the same questions that are on the study guide. So you can actually play games, and on the lower right-hand side, it says choose study mode. So, and this sliding game, you just slide the word to the correct definition and it will disappear. Okay, but I don't want to show that right now. So here we have flashcards. And we don't really have time to do this, but you just look at the definition, flip it over for the answer. You can also click on the micro or the speaker and someone will read it aloud. So can you hear this? Okay, and then just click for the next slide. All right, and there's also a spelling game. Now, the thing I don't like about this, if you spell a word incorrectly, it'll mark the whole answer wrong. I wish it would just tell you to. Well, I think spelling is very important, of course. I don't want you to think I think it's not important, but anyways, for the test taking purposes, it's good to know the words and how to spell them because it will mark it wrong. And all lowercase, even if it's proper nouns. Let's see. And then here's the test. Tests, you can control the tests if you want to do all multiple choice, or if you want to mark all of them, you can. You can do just written. And there's 4 choices. Create new test. And then there it is. Okay, so that's lots of fun. All right, I also try to scour the web for the best of the web's resources per topic. So I invite you to scout through those and explore these different web links. Archive, I highly recommend. They have a great website. If you don't like using Wikipedia, I know some people don't. I love it personally, but Archive is a great runner-up, I think, to Wikipedia. So I have marine invertebrates, marine turtles there. Projects and activities. So I know homeschool families, many of you like to do hands-on stuff. So I try to offer that as well. So we have 4 options for projects and activities. Also, I like to show videos during my lessons. This one's here is an excellent one. I just found this. It's called The Secret Life of Plankton. An excellent watch. And then we have a few other videos as well. Okay, so those are the web resources, and each lesson gets a page just like that. They don't all have Quizlets because I'm developing those. It takes time to put all the questions in. Okay. All right, any questions so far? Okay, why don't we just take a little time? I want to show you this video because I do show videos during the live class, and I feel like we're going to have enough time to do the other things. Let's go ahead and watch this. And I'm going to start screen share again. Okay, bear with me a second. Okay, screen share again. Okay, and I'm going to disconnect my headset. Testing. Can you guys still hear me? Test, test, test. Okay, so I'm going to plug in a microphone, or a speakerphone rather. And this should make the video louder. Okay, can you see this video playing? And how's the sound?
How did I get here? Well, it's a stranger story than you might think. I came from a world of drifters, a place few humans have ever seen. The world of plankton. I came from a batch of 1 million eggs, and only a few of us survived. When I became a larva, I moved among other drifters. My fellow plankton came in all sizes, from tiny algae and bacteria to animals longer than a blue whale. I shared my nursery with other embryos and juveniles, from clams and crabs to sea urchins and anemones. We drifting animals are called zooplankton. The most common animals here are copepods and krill. You could search the world over, but you'd never find a place more diverse than my childhood home. A teaspoon of seawater can contain more than 1 million living creatures. It can be a pretty tough existence, though. Trillions are born here, but only a few make it to adulthood. He may be no larger than a pinhead, but this crab larva is an arrowworm's worst nightmare. Epic battles between carnivores like these are just one way to get food. But the real powers of this place come from phytoplankton. Single-celled life that transforms sunlight and carbon dioxide into edible gold. Phytoplankton are the base for the largest food web in the world. During the night, many animals like me would rise up from the depths to feed on this sun-powered feast. I was part of the largest daily migration of life on Earth. During the day, I'd return to the darkness where I'd join my bizarre companions. Cannibals like this sea butterfly mollusk that eats its next of kin. And comb jellies that beat cilia like rainbowed eyelashes. Some of these snare their prey with sticky tentacles, while others just take a bite out of their cousins. And siphonophores that catch prey with toxic fishing lures. But my favorite would have to be the crustacean phronema. Its monstrous looks inspired the movie Aliens. It can catch tiny bits in its bristles, but prefers larger prey like salps. With 2 sets of eyes, this female prowls the deeper water. Prey in hand, she performs one of the strangest behaviors in the entire animal kingdom. With body parts from her victims, she delicately assembles a barrel-like home, feeding her young until they can drift off and survive on their own. Best of all, they make the perfect snack for a small fish like me. Here among the plankton, the food web is so tangled and complex, even scientists don't know who eats whom. But I do. At least now you know a bit of my story. There's so much more to me than just a tasty meal.
Okay, so that was interesting. Quite a complex food web going on there among the zooplankton. So if all the plankton got into a line, how long would they be? So that's an interesting question. He said there are trillions of them. Okay, hang on a second. I'm just going to hit. You're welcome. I hope you guys enjoyed that. So typically during a live class, and I may change this because the virtual classroom I'm using isn't always reliable for showing, for streaming videos like that from YouTube. So I have to see. But typically I show anywhere between 3 and 4 short clips that go along with the lesson. All right, so I'm going to be offering 2 live 3-week marine zoology classes on a platform that I'm with called outschool.com. And I invite you to enroll your learners in either or both live classes. So the first one I'll be offering, and I'll be sending you the links to these, but let's have a look at one of them. The first one is coming up next week. So that's probably the most pertinent one that I share with you now. So let me go ahead and screen share. Hang on a sec. So I need this in a different window because I like to be able to see chat at the same time, and it's hard to, anyway, won't talk about it. Okay, so screen share again. Okay, can you all see this? We have marine animals, mandarin fish, hermit crabs, and queen conch. So we'll be studying their zoology. And it's a 3-lesson mini course which explores the zoology of these marine animals. And did I give you the link to that? I'll give you the link to this. You can bookmark it. I'll also give you the links later. Okay. Okay, so I just gave the link. All right, so those 3 animals, and they're pretty amazing animals. Interesting fact, queen conch, as the Native Americans used the queen conch shell as a musical instrument. And the mandarin fish are some of the most colorful marine animals in the world. I mean, just look at those psychedelic colors. And then, of course, we all know hermit crabs are a very famous pet. Yes, they are very picky eaters in the aquarium. They need live food, actually. So we do go into that. Okay, and then my July class, I'll show you that as well. And hopefully you can see this. So we'll be studying 3 more animals in July. And we really go into depth with these. That's why each lesson is dedicated to each animal. Okay, so there'll be the seahorse, beluga, and loggerhead sea turtle. Okay, and again, a 3-week mini course. Okay, and last but not least, I will be offering an 8-lesson course. I talked to you about it earlier, called Dramatic Deep Sea Creatures. I may actually be offering this on my own website, but I at least want to introduce the class to you now. So, and all of my classes are recorded, so if you can't make the class live, you can always watch it by recording. Okay, so it's 8 lessons, and I teach the first 6 lessons live. Okay, so those are my upcoming marine zoology classes. So now for my free gifts to all of you who registered and those who are attending live, so please don't leave, because I'm going to give you a link to those of you who are here now. I'll just give that to you now. So live attendees are going to get one of my most popular lessons. So here it is. Grab that link. So can you click on that and tell me what it is you're getting? Okay. So, and I teach this lesson it's part of my marine biology courses. And I've taught that lesson for years. Yes, squid and octopus. So you get 2 lessons. The squid, they're separate, a squid lesson and an octopus lesson. And you get 1 study guide with questions, just like you saw today. The questions refer back to the slideshows. You're most welcome. And thank you for attending live. Now, for everyone who registered, I also have a free gift for you. And I know not everyone could attend live, and I understand schedules are busy and whatnot. So no condemnation. But here's a link, and this is for you too, live attendees, of course. So tell me what you get there. What's the free gift there? Now, this is an exciting gift. I spent all week developing this. So what is it? Anyone? What's the lesson? Yes, jellyfish and allies. Does anyone know what the group name for jellyfish and allies is? It starts with a C, but it's pronounced with an N. The first part of the word is N. Cnidarians. Thank you. You're sharp. Okay. So this comes with a free 5-day email course where I walk learners through the lesson. And I hope you guys are excited about this. I know people have mixed feelings about Facebook, but I have a private Facebook group set up. So if you want to do the 5-day email challenge, walking you through the Jellyfish and Allies curriculum, you can post your learning on that Facebook group and get comments from other learners taking the course. Does that make sense? And if you don't have to join the 5-day email course, you can just enjoy the curriculum by itself, but it is an opportunity. It is an option. So actually, I did that incorrectly. I'm going to give you a link with the option to sign up for, I may have to have you click on a different, wait a minute. Let me see what I did here. Okay. Anyways, I'm going to send you guys a link. If you want to sign up for the 5-day email course, you can just click on a landing page and it'll allow you to do that. Okay. Anyone think they'll do the 5-day email challenge course? I call it the Jellyfish and Allies 5-day mini course email challenge. It's a mouthful. Yes, I'm going to, great question. I will be sending these links. I know I have a lot of links here, so I'll put everything all in one email so you can grab everything that you want. Okay, it looks like we're actually finished early, so if you have other questions, well, now this can be Q&A time, so if you have other questions about my live classes. Okay, sponges are, actually people use sponges to bathe with. They harvest them from the sea, dry them out, squeeze out the seawater. I think they bleach them. And coral, they're both living animals. They're both invertebrates. Coral is anatomically different than sponges. How else can I differentiate them? So, and coral can be soft. Coral can be soft versus hard. There are stony corals. They're both from different groups. So sponges come from porifera. Corals are cnidarians, so they're studied in the same group as jellyfish and allies. There's a lot more differences, but those are some basic differences. Okay, any other questions? I don't know, like marine biology has been a love of mine since I was 8 years old. I think it happened when, and I'll stop screen sharing here. When I was a young girl, I went to my grandparents' house and they had a book by Jacques Cousteau, who died in 1973, but he was a famous TV host, and he had a boat called the Calypso, and he and his men would explore the oceans, and they had these TV shows showing the men exploring the sea. And I saw him on TV and I read one of his books and I just fell in love with the ocean. So it's been since I was a kid. And when I started teaching online courses, I decided that I wanted to also teach marine biology. I just thought it would be a big hit, and it has been. I'm sure there has, Kamala. I don't have any data, but I'm sure that you could certainly research that online. And I would strongly suggest and invite you to do that. Any other questions? Okay, so I will be opening a new website. I'm hoping in the next few weeks. So I just have a few more details. And I'm going to be doing a launch for a new course. I know you guys, this is a science class, but I also teach math enrichment, a class called Math Art. And I'm going to be launching a course called The Golden Ratio and Fibonacci Numbers, which can also be found in the sea. I found a really great website talking about how different animals, such as invertebrates, have these numbers that are found over and over in nature. So does anyone know what the golden ratio is? Or the Fibonacci numbers? So I'll give you an option to join that course too, if you so desire. And I will be offering other marine biology courses on my website, but I just have to set it up. So that's just a sneak peek into the future of Nature Glow's eScience. So again, thank you all so much for joining me live. And oh, that's great. Hi, Nura. Oh, awesome. You must be an adult now. Nura was one of my, oh my goodness. Nura has quite the sense of humor, and she's quite the participant. You took a lot of my classes back in the day. 18, you're officially an adult. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. That's awesome. So yes, I'm moving up in the world too. Going to have my own website here, a WordPress website. Anyone here use WordPress? Pretty complicated. I can't believe I'm doing it. But I'm using WordPress because you can build your website however way you want. And the website I'm going to have, I want to have webinars. I'm going to be using Webinar Ignition. And I'm going to have a blog. I'm going to have a store to sell my curriculum. And also to have a course management system so that students can easily take courses. So, and I'm not going to say it's cheaper than than going with third-party or other course management systems. Okay, I'm blabbing on here. Blabbing on. Thank you all so much. If there are no other questions, we can close here. And I really appreciate your time. And I will send the replay out. So this is recording and the replay will be available today. It should be available today. All right, take care. And I hope to see you guys in a live class with me soon if you can and would like to. Bye-bye.